What if one of the most recognizable voices on a global hit was also one of music's best-kept secrets? Let's talk about Lauren Bennett. Hi, I'm Leah, feeling inspired today.
And I'm Garrett, excited to dive into this topic.
Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett.
Today it's Lauren Bennett, the English singer whose voice leads the hook on Party Rock Anthem and who carved out a life in pop across groups, features, and a few solo tracks. Okay, so here's where I start. First time I heard Party Rock Anthem was at this packed college party, super loud, shoes sticking to the floor, the whole thing. That catchy female vocal just cut through everything. It was like a bright light in the chaos. I didn't know until much later that it was Lauren Bennett. I kind of assumed it was someone from the main duo, which, wasn't the case.
Same. I remember that hook living rent-free in my head for weeks. It's such a relatable thing. You hear a voice everywhere, but the name stays under the radar. That's the magic and also the mystery of being a featured artist. Quick definition, you're credited on another act's track without being the main act. Let's set the scene. Lauren Diane Bennett, English singer and dancer from Meafham, Kent, a village in southeast England. She worked in pop and R&B, the glossy, up-tempo kind that blends easily with dance production. Think of her as the secret ingredient in a hit recipe. Even if you don't know the brand name on the spice jar, you can still taste it in the dish.
She headed to Los Angeles as a teenager, which is a bold move. Basically a teenager flying into the center of the American pop machine. She joined the Paradiso Girls, a dance pop girl group. For anyone new to the term, girl group means a group of female vocalists who often perform harmonized vocals with choreographed routines. It fit Lauren perfectly because performance and vocals were her main instruments, so to speak.
And she wasn't just popping into random studios, she was moving within big label ecosystems, including Interscope and later Kemosabe and RCA with GRL. That kind of infrastructure is where radio-friendly pop is often developed, tested, and launched. It's like being in the kitchen of the biggest restaurant in town rather than just ordering off the menu.
Early days, she was born June 1989 in Meafham, sang in local contests and pubs to build stage chops close to home, then moved to Los Angeles around 17 for Paradiso Girls. That's a jet engine jumpstart for a career.
Paradiso Girls had some traction. Their single Patron Tequila came out in 2009, featuring Lil Jon and Eve, big names. The track hit number 3 on Billboard's Dance Club Songs chart, which is the US chart based on what club DJs report people are actually dancing to.
That early club momentum matters. It teaches pacing, crowd connection, and how to ride a beat under bright lights. It probably set up the comfort she showed later when the stakes got huge.
Before that tidal wave hit, she also showed range. In 2010, she was featured on CeeLo Green's Love Gun. CeeLo is the American singer behind Forget You. That track leaned into soul pop, a different palette from club thumpers, which is a good sign for a versatile vocalist.
All right, speaking of tidal waves, Party Rock Anthem in 2011. LMFAO is an American party rap and electropop duo. Goonrock is the producer featured alongside Lauren on that single. The song is one of those culture-level hits. You didn't just hear it at parties, you heard it at weddings, sports arenas, grocery stores, random YouTube videos, everywhere.
It topped charts across the US, the UK, Australia, Canada, France, Ireland, New Zealand, and Switzerland in 2011, and it peaked at number 8 in Germany, which is interesting. Not everything saturates every market equally. Programming tastes and timing can shift ceilings by country. That's the music equivalent of regional flavor.
And the certifications are wild. In the US, it went diamond with the RIAA, which means over 10 million units. In Australia, it was 15 times platinum, Canada 6 times platinum, the UK triple platinum, basically a statistical thunderstorm of success.
I love that her voice is a core part of its identity. The clean, catchy lift she brings to the hook is like the neon sign that makes the club feel bigger than the room. And yet, like you said, her name wasn't always front and center. It shows the trade-off with features. Massive reach, but sometimes less name recognition than the main act.
Why does that happen? because listeners anchor to the primary artist name when they save the song or talk about it. Also, radio hosts and playlists often shorten credits, so the featured artist can become the voice you know but can't place until you look it up.
Meanwhile, 2011 was busy for a beyond party rock anthem. She put out a solo single called I Wish I Wish. It didn't become a smash, but it planted a flag that she wasn't only a group or feature vocalist. It was a step toward being the name on the billboard, not just the name in parentheses.
Then comes another big chapter. In 2014, she joined GRL along with Paula Van Oppen, Natasha Slayton, Emmeline Estrada, and Simone Battle, 5 strong singer-dancers aiming right at radio and big stages.
GRL's debut song Vacation appeared on the Smurfs 2 soundtrack. That's a family film tie-in, which is a classic on-ramp for a global audience. Like a billboard on a highway, everyone drives at least once.
They also teamed up with Pitbull on Wild Wild Love. Pitbull is the Miami rapper known for pop rap crossovers and party anthems. That collab gets you rhythmic radio and an international fan base instantly. GRL then had a legit international hit with Ugly Heart, super sticky chorus, tight production, and choreography to match.
Then tragedy. Simone Battle died by suicide, and the group responded with Lighthouse, a tribute single. It's rare to see a pop act process grief that directly in a release. The song sits in that place where art and mourning meet.
GRL disbanded in 2015. But the story didn't fully stop. There were later releases under the GRL name by a subset of members, including Lauren, Natasha Slayton, and Jazzy Maija. Tracks like Are We Good and Kiss Myself kept the brand alive, even without the full original lineup.
In 2016, Lauren put out Hurricane as a solo single and featured on Reality by Nick Martin, a DJ and producer. That track was inspired by Simone Battle's death, which makes Lauren's involvement feel very personal, music as a way to talk about loss without having to say everything directly.
Her career path really shows the portfolio approach of 2010's pop: groups, features, and some solo work. It's flexible, and it fits the streaming era where singles and collaborations can matter more than traditional albums for visibility.
Now to the hardest part. Lauren died in May 2026 in Meafam, the same village where she was born. The public didn't hear about it until July 2026 when former GRL bandmates shared the news on social media. That delay is unusual today, and it shaped how people processed it.
The cause of death wasn't immediately known. A coroner's inquest was scheduled for October 2026. Quick definition. In the UK, a coroner's inquest is an official inquiry to determine the facts around a death when it's sudden or unclear. It doesn't assign blame, it records what happened as best as possible.
And there was confusion about her age in early reports. Some said 36, others said 37. She was born June 1989 and died May 2026, which means she was 36, not yet at her 37th birthday. It's a small detail, but it became a point of conversation because the news arrived so late.
This is where I lean toward factual clarity. Dates matter. A single digit might feel tiny, but it shapes the record. And with public figures, those details get quoted for decades. So getting it right is part of respecting the person.
I hear you. For me, the emotional impact is what people were holding in their hands when the news finally broke. They heard someone they danced to was gone, and the human instinct is to reach for any detail to make sense of it. When there's a delay and no cause yet, age becomes a stand-in for certainty. Why do you think the delay changed the way it played out?
Because timelines anchor narratives. If the announcement happens a month later, everyone is backfilling the story with partial info. That's where mistakes slip in. Different outlets made different assumptions, and some rounded up based on the year difference rather than checking the exact dates. Not ideal, but common in breaking news.
And it shows how a person's legacy can be nudged by small reporting choices. Even so, what lasts with Lauren is that voice. If you play the first bars of Party Rock Anthem, so many people light up. That's impact. That's legacy, even if the spotlight wasn't always pointed straight at her name.
Totally. She represents that UK to US pipeline too, moving from Kent to Los Angeles, threading features, groups, and her own songs through major label systems. It's a playbook plenty of others followed, but her entries on it are genuinely memorable.
Pop culture snapshots. Party rock anthem is everywhere. Sports arenas, viral videos, game montages. GRL shows up on the Smurfs 2 soundtrack and in collaborations like the Pitbull feature. That's a wide net. Those placements put a voice in people's lives, even if they never read a credit line.
All right, counterfactual time. What if Simone Battle hadn't died and GRL kept a stable lineup? I think they had the pieces for a longer run. Ugly Heart showed radio traction. With consistency, they could have stacked a couple more international hits, toured more, and built a debut album cycle with higher liftoff.
I agree. Stability matters for choreography-heavy groups. You build a shared language on stage and in the studio. Without the grief and disruption, I could see a second big single after Ugly Heart, maybe anchored to another film placement or a summer anthem push, then a headlining tour in mid-sized venues. That feels real.
And more crossovers, another Pitbull-style collab, or a DJ-producer link-up during the 2014-2017 festival wave. Those moves extend reach. Also, streaming-era strategy, single by single, with remixes to touch different radio formats. That could keep them visible while they shaped a full length.
And for Lauren specifically, a strong GRL arc might have bounced more listeners back to her solo work and features. You can imagine I Wish getting a reissue push or a new solo single drafted in the wake of a tour. Momentum often feeds the next chapter. I'm going to revisit a few tracks. Party Rock Anthem for that hook, Ugly Heart for the group spark, and Hurricane, because it holds a different shade of her voice.
Same here. It's a good reminder that sometimes the voice you know best belongs to someone who did a lot more than you realized. Staying curious uncovers the rest of the story.